Today I am talking about stranger danger is a myth and what you need to know, how you can start empowering your child to protect themselves against predatory behaviors when it comes to sexual abuse. Where do we start? Because this is a really big topic and it's something that I'm really passionate about, because I hear all the time that parents, when I tell them what I do, they say, oh yeah, I've talked to my child about stranger danger. But the reality is that that is actually a myth. Stranger danger is not really relevant in today's world, particularly because there are things like the internet, depending on the age of your child, of course, and them having access to it. But if you aren't educating your child on really what the threats are out there, without making it scary, but with actually empowering them on the information that they need to know to be safe, stranger danger really doesn't have very much effect. And here's the most important reason why. 85 to 90% of all child sexual abuse actually is done by perpetrators who are known to the family. So that can be friends, family, older kids. Most people don't realize that, they just think, especially because they think that they know someone, right? And so there are certain things that I want to put out there for you to think about and reflect on, so that you can start to think about who are the people in your life that your child spends a lot of time with, or that has access to your child on a regular basis. I want you to realize one thing that's really important, is that child predators look like everybody else. A lot of people tend to think that they're going to look a certain way, or they're going to dress a certain way, or they're going to be a certain age. But unfortunately, that's not the case. They actually make it a point to blend in and either work in a place or frequent a place where they have access to kids. So predators are all around us that we just don't even realize. This isn't to scare you, it's just to make you aware of the statistical facts. 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 6 boys. That means that in a school, in a classroom of 10 kids, at least 2 of those kids are going to be either being abused or have been abused. And to me, that's too high of a number. This is also only what's being reported, which means that those numbers are more than likely much higher than that. The reason that I'm putting those statistics out is because a lot of parents tend to kind of dismiss the idea that, oh, this isn't something that would happen to my kid. I've talked to them about stranger danger. I've talked to them about, their body belongs to them. But have you empowered your child in all the ways that actually prevent a situation from happening? The other part of it is that there's now also the online risk factor, right? So again, if you are a parent who has a child at the age where they have access to the internet, are you educating your child on online safety as well? Does your child know how to be safe online, verifying who they are connecting with if it's not within their circle of friends, etc.? Now, here's my question to all of you who are watching. Have you talked to your child about online safety? Are you at that age even where you're talking about it? Or are you talking about all other kinds of safety? Are you talking about what body safety is, what boundaries are, what consent is? Those are 3 different categories that can be lumped into one. A lot of people tend to think that they're the same thing, but they're actually very different things, and they have to be taught very specifically in those ways. Now, I teach parents who have kids between the ages of 2 and 12. So it can, you can start teaching information, body safety to kids as young as, 2 years old. Maybe they're going to a daycare center or a preschool. Maybe they're starting kindergarten. These are all the perfect times to get started. But if you're in that range where maybe your child is 7 to 10, maybe even 12, and you haven't had any of these conversations in depth, it's still not too late, because you want to make sure that they're being protected as they obviously continue to grow and develop and get older and are going into adolescence, which is also another really important time to start talking about specifically consent, what that means, what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, There's lots of important ways that you can teach about consent so that your child is empowered. Okay, so I want to talk about red flags. So red flags are when you realize that there may be a potential for someone who's around your child that may not be a safe adult and or older child, right? So it's not just adults, but it's also older children. And a lot of people don't think about older children also posing a potential threat. Sometimes it can be a child that was abused themselves and is not, doesn't know appropriate boundaries or doesn't really, or wants to, get their anger and frustration about what happened to them out on someone else. I've heard about cases like that on many occasions. So it's really important that, the red flags are that if there is an adult in their life who is always asking for one-on-one access with the child. So can I take them out for ice cream, or can I go take them, somewhere for a game? Or you notice that they're giving really special treatment to your child, I would be a little bit more sort of eagle eyes on those situations, regardless of who it is, because you want to make sure that that person knows that you are watching, that you are paying attention, that you are keeping an eye on their interactions, right? You also want to make sure that you are listening to your child if they're protesting being with that person. So it could be a babysitter and your child says, I don't want that. I don't want to hang out with that, with the babysitter. And they're not really telling you a specific reason why, but they're just saying that they just don't want to, or they don't like the person. Maybe they're not telling you more than that, but that's their reason. Pay attention to those things, right? Don't dismiss it as, they just don't want me to go out tonight. Get more specific if you can. If the child is just, protesting it and really, they're making an effort to try to get you to listen, pay attention to those things, right? And the same with older kids. For play dates even, I don't let kids hang out with an older child in a closed room. If a child hasn't been prepared for what to do in those kinds of situations, if they haven't been given exit strategies, if they haven't been given those tools and skills to stand up and say no and to be verbal and vocal, or if they haven't even been taught that if something were to happen, they can always come and tell you, then I would definitely not leave them unsupervised or in a room with a closed door with an older child. So those are some red flags that you should definitely look for to make sure that you're preventing those kinds of situations from happening. Think about who are the people in their life currently that are interacting with them a lot, whether it is a teacher or a coach or a babysitter or a family member or a friend. If you have any questions about today's topic, please post them below. I will definitely jump back in and answer them. Be sure to turn on your notifications. And I just opened my free Facebook group called Consent Parenting, which you are welcome to join. I'll post the link here below so that you can click and join. You're more than welcome to invite other parents so that we can all start creating consent culture. I'm Rosalia Rivera for About Consent. Thank you so much for being here. I hope today empowered you. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.